Well, I guess we'll start with a cheers, man. Always good to see you, Gio.
Yeah, thanks for pouring my drink before I got here.
But it's full service, Prost. What do they say? Isn't that what they
Yeah.
say in German?
Prost.
German?
They actually say it in a few countries in Europe.
Yeah?
Because even, I remember we were in Italy and they would do that.
Prost, yeah.
But I think
Austrians,
yeah.
all of them. Well, what's new, man? Let's start there. What's going on with you? I love the Bianco 26 shirt.
You know, I had my work shirt on coming from work, so I thought, as I was leaving, I'm like, I better grab just a shirt.
Yeah.
And the way I operate is whatever's on top of the clean clothes pile is most likely going to get worn again. And I saw this, and I'm like, yes. I'm a big Bianco fan, and as a Californian, I think I can speak for tens of millions of us. We would love to see him in there and get New Scum out. So, yeah, I'm just showing my support.
Dude, what about I don't know, we always steer right into politics right off the bat. What about what's going on there? Like, they're just fully stealing all of the Pacific Palisades land. We're just going to throw some low-income housing and apartments up over here where there was once multi-million-dollar homes in a neighborhood. Like, what?
But I feel like saying, are you shocked? I mean, there were people that were saying this was going to happen months ago. And
the day after it happened. You can see the writing on the wall.
Where did all that $100 million go from the concert that all those performers put on?
Nobody's seen a dollar of it.
It's been funneled to non-profits who backdoor it back to the politicians. It's
crazy.
It's scandalous, dude.
The level of corruption in all of our government is like, I think we're just scratching the surface, and it's still appalling. But, like, look at Maui. It's the same thing. None of those people, that's all just handed down land. None of them likely have the money to rebuild, and then they're going to make the regulations so strict. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, now, this day and age to build, you got to, you got to get all these permits, or you got to build a seawall, you got to.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They'll never do it. So the government will ultimately just buy them out for pennies on the dollar. It's crazy.
It's sad.
It's really sad.
When I left South Africa, I still remember thinking, okay, going to America. There'll be no corruption, no bribery, no shenanigans.
It's following you.
And I'm going, wow, they're actually not that far apart these days.
We were just classier about it.
Yeah.
We kept it from our people longer.
Well, here they're better at creating diversions.
Yeah.
Like in South Africa, they're not that smart. They go, hey, you stole all that money. No, I did not.
No, I did not do it.
Yeah, no, we saw it. That was not me. It went to your account. That's not me.
It's like that.
And it's like, yeah, it is.
It's like that Shaggy song. You just keep denying it.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of South Africa, the World Supercross Series going back there. I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on that. I mean,
we say go back there. They've never been.
Well, they're going there.
They're going there, yeah.
So, World Supercross interests me, and it's changed hands, owners a little bit, but like it's going to Malaysia this year, Argentina, Vancouver, Canada, Johannesburg, South Africa,
Cape Town,
and then Australia. So like a pretty radical, like that's a cool international schedule.
I think it's neat. They've had World Supercross, but it was like Geneva, Paris, maybe somewhere Germany or Italy. So it was a European championship.
Yeah.
Really didn't venture into the world. It was just like you had America, which it's obviously been very established for many years. And then but like the old World Supercross, it was kind of like, hey, we got these different events that happen by themselves.
Yeah.
We'll just make it into a championship. That way we can almost guarantee that we'll have the top Americans do all these races in these different countries. I think it's pretty cool because, like, Malaysia, right? It's a big motorcycle country. Like when MotoGP and World Superbike and those guys go, they get big crowds. They always do like a fan fest type thing where they go down the streets and sometimes they're in open vehicles and the people just love it because they're a huge motorcycle community because a lot of them ride those little shit boxes to work and back, but that's their form of transportation. South America, large, passion for two wheels and four wheels. Like, with Formula One, they've had a lot of like top Brazilian drivers. And so South America, like they really love their racing. So I think those were two great choices. Yeah. I think Australia is pretty much like not surprised. Canada, not surprised. But, when I saw South Africa be announced, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Obviously, I have a slightly biased opinion on this one, but they've had a couple GPs in South Africa, but in my opinion, it wasn't done right. They went to like a resort, Sun City. It's like a mini Vegas, and the track sucked. It was a flat piece of ground. I mean, it almost looked like they put it on like a couple soccer fields, So you didn't have a good track, and it
was like the Elsinore Motocross National,
kind of,
or that one in Miller Motorsports Park.
Yeah, it's like they're just trying to bring something, but there was no, I don't know. Besides the resort,
no
there
infrastructure.
was nothing around there. Like everyone had to fly in pretty much. Even if you lived in South Africa, it was very remote. And, again, when it's governed by those guys, I feel like because they go, okay, we charge this much for tickets at France, we're going to do the same converted in South Africa. And people were like, whoa, to go watch this live, that's pretty heavy.
Well, that's one thing I was thinking about is like, and I think this always limits motorcycle racing in general. Like people always say, oh, we want our sport to grow and be bigger. There's not that many people that can relate. It's why NASCAR is so big, because people drive a car. They drive their Camry to work and back. They feel like, oh, I've done 85. I kind of know what it's like to race at Daytona.
Yeah.
And it's, they don't really know, but like they feel like they can relate. A lot of people don't ride motorcycles here. So our sport has this limiting factor where just people don't relate to it.
Yeah.
Even if you know nothing about it and you go to a Supercross, it's a good show. You're not getting them to a national. Hiking hills and humidity and mud
and rain.
That's
the guys that race on the weekends, their kids race.
Yeah.
They are, that old cliche core fans. But I think the good thing with Supercross and what they're going to need to do is, like you said, it's changed hands.
But Malaysia, like you were saying, these third world countries, they all ride bikes. Those little scooters and mopeds,
and
that's it.
And you got to remember, they don't get to see this kind of stuff.
Right.
So now all of a sudden they're like, World Supercross coming to our country, people are going to make the effort. This is going to be like planning a vacation for them. So it's going to take some time because there's a few things. Like you mentioned NASCAR, but if you go look at NASCAR's ratings, live attendance, it's been tanking for years.
Well, yeah, they've been making some stupid moves. But
they got too woke, and I think they also lost a lot of their old school superstars. There hasn't been a Dale Earnhardt or a Jeff Gordon or anything. It's a lot of young talent, but the fans don't really know these guys.
Yeah,
either.
You need superstars, dude.
Yeah, you need personalities.
Yeah.
Now, I think with World Supercross, it's going to be a tough road, and I think they understand that they're probably going to lose money this year, and unfortunately, that's nature of the beast. You got to look at like all these big tech companies; they lose billions for years and years before they break even and then become profitable. So as long as they can stay patient, if I was them, I'd be like, we got to get the fans there. So let's maybe discount the tickets price of admission.
Yeah.
Bring that down so the average person can afford it. Fill the stadiums up. Get them pumped. They're going to tell all their family and friends, and you'll have that snowball effect. And, of course, they got to make sure they lock down several superstars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality. I mean, I know from talking to friends in South Africa, they're excited about the GP. And I'm like, are you going? Because I grew up in Durban, so you would have to fly. It's almost like East Coast, West Coast. And they're like, yeah, we're planning, we're thinking we're going to come, but we're waiting to see who is on the riders list. Like, we don't want to go see a bunch of South Africans and one or two top guys. Like, that's the other problem. You kind of need guys that are going there to win, guys that are going to be fighting for a podium, guys that will be fighting for top 10, and then let the locals kind of almost fill up the back spots.
It seems like if they could get along with Feld or SMX, which probably is never going to happen because ultimately there's, it's competition and I don't think they're going to work together. But it would be cool to see this international series as long as they said, hey, we'll stay out of the U.S. or whatever. I don't know, whatever agreements they could come to.
And I think I think intentionally they didn't come to the U.S. for that reason. I think they're trying to avoid conflict and go, hey, you guys have done a great job doing that. We're going to tackle the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I would love to see them go to Japan. I think. They used to have the big money races in Japan back in the day, and I remember talking to guys like even Matasevich and them used to go over, and they're like, dude, we were like rock stars over there. And considering the sport is almost dominated by the Japanese manufacturing, it would be a great spot where they love their racing, they love two wheels. They've all got something invested in it. So I think there's other markets that they're going to be able to go to. I think they should also try to tie in at least 1 or 2 European rounds.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see they're going to South America, Africa, Australasia, North America. I think you got to tackle Asia and Europe a little bit, and that'll come. I mean, I think 5 rounds from where they used to be with 3.
Yeah, I think
that's
good.
A nice step.
Yeah.
Now it actually feels like a championship. It truly is an international World Series, and I just hope that they can stick with the plan and be patient and realize this is probably going to be 3 to 5 years before they start seeing return on their investment.
Well, that's what I originally heard, and I don't know who owns it now. The original owner said they had enough of it in a kitty to like get through 5 years of loss before they start seeing a return.
They lost 5 years in one year.
Yeah, well,
apparently,
perhaps, yeah.
No, I don't know the owners personally.
But it would be a cool place. My thought on the last thing was, if for guys that are like, I think I'm going to retire, I think I'm going to call it, but I still want to ride a little bit, like Dean Wilson, perfect example. But Eli's coming to that point, Cooper Webb's coming to that point, and maybe they would just go, you know what, I don't want to do this grind and have all the stress and pressure, but man, I still do love racing and making some money. You signed up for this 5-race deal.
A lot of them are married with kids, so they can do some sightseeing, make a vacation out of it, see the world.
I think you'd get guys, you'd get the 3 to 5 really high-level name guys that you need. They'd be at the tail end of their career, but shoot, that's when they have the most fans. Look at Roxon.
Yeah.
He's a good draw for them. So
no, like you said, once they've made their name, it's a good transition.
Yeah.
And I think, and I hope it doesn't happen, but there could be some issues, let's just say like a Hayden Deegan, who's in the prime of his career. If he goes and does that, he might get somewhat blacklisted when he comes back to SMX because of hey, you went and played for, rode for the opposition, and now you're coming back. Yeah. So I hope there's none of that pettiness where guys are able to, because they're doing it in a time frame where it's after Motocross of Nations, so it's in the window where there's no racing. They're not coming to the U.S., so I think they're trying to stay in their lane, but at the same time trying to create something global.
They are. Here's the problem. SMX is going to look at it like, from a rider's standpoint, so wow, I could not do Nationals or the SMX playoffs, which are kind of weird hybrid tracks that I don't, I like Supercross. Supercross is fun, good money. And I could start they don't have to start riding until September.
Yeah, take the summer off.
Take the whole summer off. Start riding in September. The World Supercross rounds get you warmed up. You come into Anaheim ready to fire.
That sounds like maybe a good program for Jason Anderson right now. Take the summer off.
That's what I'm saying.
And go make some money, and then come in, like you said, with that kind of race pace and that intensity already going. It could be an advantage.
But so what I'm saying is SMX, those guys know. They see that. They're not stupid. They know that would be enticing to riders. That's why the playoffs, that's why they made it to where you've got to do them all. You know what I mean? So.
But Jett Lawrence was the SMX world champion by only racing the outdoors on the 450. He didn't have any points coming in, but he managed to pull it off.
So I think, dude.
Which to me, I thought, man, that doesn't look good. Hey, I rode 250s in Supercross, scored 0 points in the 450 class, chimed in halfway through the year, and I'm champion. I still thought, well, that probably didn't go how they planned it.
He's a little bit of an outlier.
But you see my point.
Totally. And I think
did half the series.
I think you're seeing it.
Less than half the series, because there's 16 Supercrosses, 11 Nationals.
Yeah.
And 3 playoffs. So he did 14 of the 30 rounds.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. But it's true. But, I mean, it was close. It wasn't like he ran away. I mean, his brother could have.
He was a world champion riding part-time.
Okay,
I mean, that sounds like my schedule, a part-time schedule, and still get all the rewards.
Yeah, but they kept him. The point is they kept him. They put enough money in there in that pot that instead of him going, well, I could just go do this World Supercross.
Or the OzX.
And just do a few things. And probably, it was worth it to get the title and to make the money to stay. That's why that whole thing came together.
Well, he's also contracted to do it.
That's true. That's a good point. But I'm saying, even if he wasn't, or if you're a Jason Anderson right now, you don't think you could say to Triumph, hey, I want to just do Supercross. I don't want to do Nationals anymore. So I'm going to race the World Supercross rounds. All I need you to do is support me with equipment. and U.S. Supercross here. I'll be ready to go. Triumph would, I think, be foolish to not jump on that. And he could get big money from the promoters to show up for WSX. Still get paid probably nicely to compete in the U.S. Series. I don't know. Anyway,
and a brand like Triumph, they're trying to get as much exposure as they can, especially if you're trying to build your worldwide brand. So for them, it makes sense too, right?
Yeah. Speaking of them, there's chatter about Ducati being done, and the Moto media is really stepping on their dicks left and right this week. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but people are posting all over the place. Barcia and Ferrandis to Ducati. Done deal. I messaged Dave Casella. He says he can't comment one way or another. It's nothing. He can't officially comment on anything yet. I'm like, well, it's all over the interwebs. Like, what's he doing? He goes, I know. Per Paolo, who's the guy, we can't comment on anything. And I said, all right, I don't care. We're not in the business of breaking news anyway, but who do you think will wind up at Triumph? Let's say that is true and those two go to Ducati, which it makes sense. It's probably the two easiest fits. I think the only other guy that was even in contention and discussion was realistic was Anderson. Because Roxon, there was too much hair on the deal with gear. Eli just didn't think the bike was ready.
Yeah.
They both wrote it. Multiple people wrote it, but those two made the most sense because Barcia's already in TLD gear. Ferrandis, I don't know if that team, Phoenix Honda, is going to stay. I don't know what their plan is, but it was just a good fit, I think, for him. So anyway, let's say they go there. Who the hell goes to Triumph? Who's left? I heard Mookie for a while, and then I heard, no, he's back with Husky.
Well, I mean, if you Triumph, I don't know what their budget is, because one of the things that I had heard, and I don't know if it's true, but they were saying Ducati doesn't have a lot of money to throw at this project. I think they've maybe said, hey, here's a budget, work within it, and now it's like, oh, we don't even know if we have enough to get a top, pay the guy what he needs. Eli's not going there for $200,000, So if those guys are signed there, I think, like you said, it makes sense. I think they got two solid guys that they don't have to break the bank to get. Obviously, if Triumph has the money, I would think they would have to try at least go after Eli, at least have a conversation. Because at the same time, he brings attention, credibility, and with him being at the tail end of his career, if he doesn't win, no one's going to be like, oh, it's definitely the bike. And if he does win, they're going to be like, whoa, that Triumph must be good. So I think for them, there's little risk. And Eli's not going to be the kind of guy he's not a prima donna. He's not a whiner. He could probably help them too. Yeah. To come up with some stiff suspension settings and an aggressive power band. But I just think for a variety of reasons, it would be good for them.
I think he's done it, KTM. And I think Eli's the kind of guy, because if you kind of had resigned to, I'm probably not going to win anymore, but I'm good. I could get podiums on a good night, top fives all the time. So I'm going to ride this out for a couple more years, break in that cash. I don't think Eli's that guy. I think the minute he doesn't think he can really go out and win, he's done. He's already put his name into the record books and, crazy, right? So I think he's going, if I'm going to continue on, I want to be able to win and have the bike not be a problem. KTM has a winning bike. It's those guys, it's good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that bike is competitive with anything. So I know Eli tried. I can't confirm for sure he rode the Triumph, but I think so.
I'd heard that too.
And I just don't think, a first-year team, I don't care who you are, that bike's good. I've ridden it, but it's good at a production level. They don't have any works parts. They don't have like settings. They don't have all. You can't just jump in and win.
Yeah.
It's so impossible.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, if I was Triumph, I would at least try.
Okay, so realistically, let's say Eli's out because it sounds like he went to KTM.
I heard that too.
Anderson's got to be on your list. Would you look at anybody like Cody Schock?
I would probably look at Savacci or McElrath, those guys that have shown that they can bring something to the table. And again, if they're not really truly ready to win, then you don't want to go get an A-lister either.
No.
Because you don't want them to be like, oh, the bike's holding the guy back, you know. So when you get riders that have been in the top 10 and maybe a top 5 here and there, and you're like, oh, that was impressive, I think that would make a lot of sense. I don't know who's under contract and who's not.
Justin Hill.
Yeah.
That'd be a good hire.
I agree with that one.
Because he's a good test rider. He's won a championship. He was the best he's ever been this year on the big bike. He was really good.
Yeah, he impressed me, especially in the first half of Supercross.
Yeah, he would have been on the top of my list for them. I'm curious where he ends up.
To me, I feel like if I was in charge of Triumph, I would be a little bit nervous with Anderson because I just feel like there's nothing worse than spending your time, your effort, your money to get someone and you don't even know. Like, he's been very secretive about everything. You know, is it Epstein-Barr that he's dealing with? Is it something more severe? Is he just over it?
That's a lot of the speculation, is that he's completed the number of races he has to do to make his money. He's over it, whether it's the bike or he's out of the title chase or it is something health related, which that would seem odd to me.
This would be the second time as well.
Yeah.
Second or third time. So,
well, the first time it was a
like
family issue, right?
But I feel like there's just a big question mark next to him. That's why if I had the choice and say, okay, Tomac signed with KTM, like I said, I'm going to go for those guys that just didn't quite accomplish getting a factory ride. So it's an upgrade for them. They're not expecting the world. They're just happy to have a good, solid ride.
Yeah.
And they could potentially put in some surprise results and make the bike look good as well.
Yeah, and I think Triumph could make a bike as good or better than whatever that Honda is they're riding.
Yeah.
No diss on that bike.
For sure.
But to try to make it better than a factory Cowie or whatever, a factory team that's been around forever, first year out, that's a tall order, right? So then you're getting a rider who's going, hey, this is better than what I was on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Versus a guy going,
yeah, like I'm taking a step backwards.
Mm-hmm. Just mentally, that's a big deal. What do you think's going on with Anderson, if you had to guess? He doesn't talk, dude. He is like...
That's the thing. He's like, he's very just elusive, you know. I do think it's a little strange. I just wish he would be a little more transparent with people. The fact that he hasn't been transparent makes me think that maybe what we're being told isn't the entire truth.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I've wanted, because people never want to talk about this, or it's like taboo to openly admit something. But, you know, there's been a lot of riders at different points of their career that have dealt with, like, depression or maybe some anxiety, whatever you want to call it. And I only realized this in recent years from guys that didn't say anything while they were racing, but later in their life admitted that that those were the personal issues. And we're thinking, oh, he's burned out, or he's got a niggling injury, or he had Epstein-Barr, you know, something. And then you're like, oh, it was actually something different. So I don't know. I think, like most people, all we can do is speculate.
I know, that's the thing that sucks. It's probably something personal, with whether it's him or family, just something he doesn't really want to share. But the problem is, we're all going, okay, he's not talking about it, so we start speculating what it is, and like, sometimes that can be worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Jason. He's a different character. He's always, you know, in some ways he seems easygoing, happy-go-lucky, but, you know, so did Robin Williams. And so many people that have this nothing bothers me from the outside are dealing with demons inside.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's total speculation as well, but I'm just curious if that could be why he's being very vague about what's going on.
So the other bit of speculation, and it kind of ties in to his teammate, is Prado. Like, he is really unhappy with the bike. And so I start thinking back, like, well, who's really done well on that Cowie in a while? Like, maybe there is something with the bike that just doesn't work at that level.
Well, remember, even when Reed went there, that was a disaster. And then he went and started his own team and was way better. So I don't know if it's a team.
That would be crazy to me. Those are good guys over there. You know, like, they know what they're doing. They've been part of championship teams. So, like, I just can't imagine they can't get somebody
But
happy.
there has been some turnover for sure. Like I've seen it, I know like Tomac's old mechanic, Brian Kranz, he went in-house and he was there and he comes into my shop to get, because they go to the desert and he has side-by-side, so he comes and gets his parts from us. And, I don't want to open up a can of worms about him, but he was just like, yeah, no, kind of, I'm out. Like, almost had this, like, I'm over it kind of attitude. And I could tell he didn't really want to say too much. And I thought, maybe there's more going on than we realize.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I just know, like, Big B, from the driver to Kaipo to Dean, who does the motors, those are just good dudes. They've been around forever.
But all it takes is someone in a higher position that maybe doesn't gel with the riders or doesn't see their point of view or is too corporate, whatever. Sometimes just takes one person to
poison it all.
Cause an issue. And again, I don't know. I'm speculating. But the fact of the matter is we've seen numerous riders say they're not happy there.
I know. Even Eli, when he went there, everyone was so stoked thinking he's going to come out firing. And do you remember that first season? It was like rough. Took them a long time to get him comfortable, and I don't think he was ever 100% because when he went to Star, he was immediately better,
And now, I mean, I know there's only 2 riders on the factory team, but basically it appears neither of them are happy.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing I wanted to ask you about is Prado. I got some people saying, I was at Washougal last weekend, so I'm kind of just chatting with everybody in the pits, and there's people going, dude, somebody's got to tell Prado he needs to, like, tamp it down. He's got that Spanish, like, oh, this bike is no good. I cannot push. Like, just very
short and almost
like there's no sugarcoating shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's just telling you exactly what's coming out of his head, through his head. But you know how it is at that. Everyone at the team has a little bit of a pride and an ego. They work really hard. So if you go, hey man, there's something with the bike, I'm just not comfortable.
Yeah.
They're happy to work on it with you. But when you go, oh, bike is shit. Oh, I cannot. It's kind of like, oh, is that right?
Yeah. Well, and I get it. It's if it just comes across as bitching, like you said, eventually people are going to get irritated and frustrated. And quite frankly, like they start losing faith in the rider, and then that's a big problem. But if you come and it's like you're trying to help them to help you, then you're all in on it together.
Yeah.
And I've had gone to teams and raced with different brands, and we've had hiccups and issues and things. And there's times I've come off the track and I'm like, give me 30 seconds to gather my thoughts before I say something I regret. And so I always try to keep it like I'm not bashing them. I'm trying to make us better because I always try to tell them, if I can be more comfortable, I will go faster. Trust me. When I was at Yamaha, I struggled because they had gone down this road where everything was oversized forks and oversized clamps and everything was too much. And I'm like, I have no feel. And then we were trying to unwind. And after riding for Mitch at Pro Circuit, if I said, Mitch, I don't like this, or we need to sort this out, or get me something different, it happened, pretty quickly. Yamaha has their corporate steps, and I remember being really frustrated with just like, why is this taking so long? To get a different clamp shouldn't be taking months, And I remember my frustration boiling, and I said, give me what I want, and I will go faster. And then thankfully I got what I wanted, and then kind of came through to win it in the end. And then everyone was like, yeah, and everyone was like, we did it, But there was a part of the season where I was like, I don't know if I made the right decision signing with these guys. But I tried not to bash anyone individually. I just try to tell them I'm not satisfied with what I'm riding.
So was it, in that case, was it like someone within the team, or was it above the team level that slowed it down, or a little both? Or that wasn't willing to change or give you one? Because I think whatever happened there is probably what's happening at Cowie, because they're both, same type of structure.
Well, the sport, unfortunately, when we were racing, they were race teams under a corporate umbrella. Now they're basically part of the corporation. Before, back in the day, most of the mechanics and everyone was 1099, and it was like the race team it's a business within the business.
A DBA.
Yeah. And now you're an employee of that company, and so when that happens, there's a lot more chain of commands to go through. And, and I think in Europe, the race teams are still somewhat privately owned. And those guys in Europe, they're always sniffing around trying to get a piece of carbon from that and a titanium piece there. And, and you got places like Italy that are always engineering new stuff. And then if you go look, there's probably a 50, 80-mile strip in northern Italy. And I
was just there.
Ferrari and Ducati and Lamborghini and Alfa Romeo and Aprilia and everything's there. So it's like a racing, community. Advanced tech, so, and they're all trying to push each other. And I think in Europe, and also there's more leeway because they don't have the production rule. So, if they didn't like the frame, they could make another frame. They didn't like the swing arm, change the swing arm. Like, I remember when I was in Europe, I went from being on a privateer team and I went to KTM. And I just remember being like, wow, like this was insane. They would pull up a truck and open the door and there'd be like 15 frames, all different. We're going to go through them all over the next couple of days. I'm like,
damn.
What?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you think? And I said to my dad, I've never tested shit in my life. I don't even know what the hell to say. He goes, well, don't lie. Just say, I couldn't tell a difference, or I don't like it. He goes, don't make up stuff to try and sound intelligent. Just say.
It was good advice from your dad.
I didn't know. I couldn't feel a difference, or I didn't feel comfortable on that one. I like that one. So we were able to like weed out ones that was like almost a hard no. And then like, let's try that one again, but change
God, those poor
the
mechanics.
length. Oh, dude. But they did nonstop. Yeah. We spent a lot of time testing. So my point is, I felt like they were almost building a bike around what I wanted. And that thing was a rocket ship.
And so over here, your point is they build the bike and they expect you to work around the bike.
So, for example, like getting back to when I rode for Yamaha, one of the frustrating parts was I signed with a team, and Jimmy Perry was team manager at the time, but he had already ordered all the suspension. They were all 52 mil forks. And I'm like, well, can we try some 50s? No, we don't have. I'm like, well, can you get some? No. Why not? It's not in the budget. I'm like, you guys are spending millions. They're like, yeah, but we burned through the budget. So I ended up winning the championship with stock externals and just modified internals. And I'm like looking there and I'm like, they spent all this money on this stuff and I couldn't stand any of it. And we went to stock clamps, stock forks, stock shock body. The only thing that looked tricked on the bike was the oversized radiators because I needed more horsepower. And when we were pushing the limits, the bike was running hot. So we had these cool, big, oversized radiators. But the rest of the bike looked stock. So, again, I don't know. I think with Prado, I do believe that there's probably some things that are frustrating him or he doesn't like, or maybe it's not suiting him. But I genuinely can't blame it all on the bike. I think a lot of it's in the head now.
It's in his head, yeah.
And now, because you watch him at some of these races, and all of a sudden he gets a decent start. I'm like, okay, now we'll see what he can do. A few laps up front, and then it's almost like, and I'm like, I know he's not getting tired. The dude's in shape.
No, he's
like,
a beast, yeah.
And I'm going, but he just totally fizzles out. So I'm like, he showed signs of it.
Yeah.
So if you show me signs, the bike can't be that bad. I mean, the only other explanation would be arm pump, but it's just like he, not saying giving up, but it's like he gets passed by one or two guys, and it's just like, all right, there goes the anchor, and circulate. So
yeah, and I was fine with him still running inside the top 10. That's not easy, but he's fading now, like dropping. I think he dropped to 19th at Washougal in one of the motos. No crashes, just dropped to 19th, and I'm like, that's not.
There's more to it.
There's something else going on.
There's a lot of rider over the bike.
To play devil's advocate, I didn't realize till last week, or it didn't hit me like, in Supercross, when you go to a race, you get one free practice. It's not time. You get to go out and just learn the track, do the obstacles or whatever. They don't get that at the Nationals. So if you're a guy who's never been here and there's no press day, which sometimes you don't get to do press day, you go out on National Day, Saturday, and you get basically that first lap.
And then you're on the clock.
And you've got to go, and you don't even know the track. You don't even know where it goes.
And the other thing is, on most of these tracks, or a lot of them at least, the fastest times are going to come like in the first couple laps of first practice, especially Southwick and some of those places. So, to your point, in GPs, you get a lot of track time.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, I remember sometimes waking up Sunday morning on race day going, shit, I'm a little stiff from all the –
yeah.
Because we used to have –
it's like a whole race before the race.
When I did the GPs, practice – we'd have 2 practices and then qualifying, but I might be wrong. I can't remember if it was 40 minutes or an hour, but like some of the free practices, guys were changing shocks and swing arms during practice.
Yeah.
But just say it was 40 minutes. 40 minutes, then another 40 minutes, and then 40 minutes of qualifying. That's more than we do on a Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
So by Sunday, there's no excuse. Even if you had a mechanical in one of those practices, you're like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm actually saving a little energy for tomorrow. Then you wake up, and you have a 40-minute free practice, and then we had 2 40-minute plus 2-lap motos. After I left, they went back down to 30-minute motos, but it was a lot of track time.
Yeah, I just think that you got to consider that. And with a guy like Jorge, in my opinion, my humble opinion, he's dealing with that. But he's also, like you said, he's in his head. Because even in Supercross and at the early rounds of the Nationals, he was okay. He was running top 5, 6, 7. He wasn't near the front. But I think as another guy passes him or he has a bad weekend, I think he's now just in his head. And he's like, what is happening? I'm a 2-time world champion. I should have no problem being on the podium.
That's a good point, because if you go look at, let's just for argument's sake say the last 5 years of GPs, which maybe only did about 5 years, but in the 250 class, he was very quickly got to the top.
Yeah.
Then moved up, and I mean he beat some bad dudes. When you're beating Hurlings and that straight up when he's healthy, I have a lot of respect for that, because I know how gnarly Hurlings and
same with
guys,
Geiser.
and even Fevre, like those guys are no joke. Like they're legit. And maybe, on a bad day for him, because he was always good at starts. Like if you go look at a lot of the races, he got the whole shot. And even if he wasn't one of his like good tracks, he still maybe lost 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah.
Hurlings comes in a sand track. You're like, oh well,
what are you gonna do?
It's Hurlings. Like no, I knew it was coming, kind of thing. Let him go. I'll take a second. Second's as good as a win on a track like this for me. Now it's there's guys passing him. He's probably going, who the fuck's this guy?
I've never even heard of that guy.
And that's got to be demoralizing.
I know.
Especially when you've put yourself to that level. And let's face it, most riders have some form of ego. Even if you don't see it on camera, you have to have a little bit of the I'm better than everyone, I'm a badass, I got this. So he has that in him. And now it's like, some dude passed me who I don't even know was a privateer, and I feel like a fucking dick now,
Imagine going from 2-time world champion to you're just drifting back to 19th in a U.S. national moto. I mean,
bet you if you had asked him that at the beginning of the year, do you think that would happen, he would have laughed at you and said, are you kidding me? Do you know who I am?
I know. And I know he's got the potential in it, like Redbud, and here and there we've seen flashes of it. And I'm cheering for him. I think he's a super nice dude. I think he brings something to the sport, like a personality that we need.
Yeah.
So I like him. I'm cheering for him. And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about next. Is there's been a lot of moto media drama over the last, especially few weeks, but it's just gotten bad. And so, like there was a Lewis Phillips, who's a British guy that came over here, did an interview with Prado, and it was just, I think, if you didn't see it, to me it was incredibly rude. Like I would have never approached a guy, and maybe it's just because I was a racer, so I understand like where his pride is at right now. He's wounded, right?
Yeah.
And so to have some smarmy little pasty fuck come up to me and go, "Oh, you seem lost. Like you just don't know what you're doing." Like, I'm surprised Jorge didn't give him a little punch in the mouth. And Jorge did say, like, you're asking bad questions. You're being rude. Like, he was trying to be professional about it. There's a way to ask the same question but be respectful about it. And I thought that was crazy. Then he broke some other news that Vial was going back to Honda, which Vial immediately was like, no, I'm looking forward to staying here. He has an offer on the table from KTM. And then just more recently was announced on a media site that Deegan was racing the last national on a 450.
I saw that one.
To which Hayden went to his social media and said, not true. Moto Media has turned into TMZ, whatever. And so I wanted to just bounce that off of you and see what you thought, because it was different back in the 90s and early 2000s. Before social media became a thing, there wasn't as much media, right? Because to get started, you had to buy a really expensive camera, figure out how to use it, somehow get into the sport, grind for those couple of years. It just was tougher. Where now you can just with a phone kind of get a media company off the ground. And, there's a billion media companies. And then on top of that, the riders have their own, they are their own media company. Most of them have their own videographers. Yeah. They're putting out their own content. They have their own YouTube channel. So, like, they have no incentive to meet with us or whoever and go do a photo shoot one day or go, it's really just putting them out because they have their own way to reach the people. They probably have more followers than we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just completely changed where, like, they don't really need us. So you've got all these more media companies than ever at a time when they're not really needed the way they used to be. And so they grab at little things and try to make stories out of stuff that is either not their business, or, they take a ounce of truth and then speculate everything else around it.
Well, that comes back to when you have, you're still somewhat in the media game, so you're more in touch with what's going on and who's out there. I feel like every time I scroll through social media, because I asked you, I'm like, are you talking about the English guy? And you're like, yeah. And I remember thinking, I saw something else, but he does come across, I don't know, like a dick. I don't know. Maybe it's just his lack of manners or mannerisms.
Well, you just can tell he's never been in that position.
Well,
he doesn't understand.
The people
where
that have never
at.
done it before or have never been there are the worst, because the only way they stand out is by what I say, screaming the loudest. Yeah. If you just did a casual interview, no one would even know who they are. But if they come out and say outrageous things, it's clickbait, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of clickbait.
And people go for it. There's a lot of these clickbaity guys. Walty Wanders, or who is this guy? And he's like, oh, I've been in the industry forever, and people are clicking on his stuff, and it's absurd.
Yeah. No, I remember, well, I feel like at least when we raced, I look back and I go, first of all, you knew every journalist by name.
Yeah.
You had a relationship because there was
only 5 or 6.
I was going to say, there was about 5 people that you talked to, the big outlets. And I also think that they were, like you said, you got to know them a little bit. They were always respectful. Even if they did, I remember a few guys asking me, they wanted to ask the tough question, and I could tell they were almost sugarcoating and dancing around it. And I feel like saying, you can ask why I suck. I'm not going to be offended because I've had a shitty year, I feel like I only ever had one issue ever, and that was with a French journalist, shocker. But I think he was just mad because he was buddies with some of the French riders, and I happened to clean 2 of them out in one race. So he was mad at me about that.
Bleu.
So he kept trying to beat the point that I was a dirty rider, and I eventually kind of had enough, and in my lovely South African accent, told him where to shove it. So
was that where the sun doesn't shine?
Yes.
Yeah.
And after that, but like when I came to the U.S., I felt like I actually was pleasantly surprised, because when I got here, I had people going, "Hey, just so you know, because you're not American, they may not like you, and you're going to get some negative publicity and this and that." And I was like mentally prepared for it. And then I got here, and I'm like, oh. Like Eric Johnson from Racer X, he was pumping me up, and just said all nice things. There's a lot of people, and it's pretty much they got a phone and a credential, and I'm journalism. I'm a journalist. Look at me, and a lot of them. I mean, and I'm not going to point out any individual figures, but I listen to some of the stuff, and I'm like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You
can't. I mean, it's, one, you're getting things wrong. You're posting things that are, the next day debunked by the rider or whatever. Like, they're obviously wrong, and just being rude, and then,
But you're going to see. I guarantee you. And
it's why I'm really stoked when we kind of put Whiskey Throttle Media together. Jeff and I, my partner, kind of said, no breaking news, no like, oh look, we found this out. We're the first to tell you about it. That shit is so lame to me.
Well, what's going to start happening too is teams and riders are going to. I'm telling you, it's coming. They're going to be told, watch what you say, because that guy's got a big mouth. That guy's got a big mouth. And you're already seeing some riders avoiding parts of the media for those reasons.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with TMZ or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to get I think a lot of the older established guys have just gotten used to this. AP talks to everyone. Even Eli, who used to be pretty shy, he talks to almost everyone. So, but you're going to have that new wave of all the kids that grew up in video games that it's hard to talk to people that are just going to start picking and choosing. They're going to go, there's 20 outlets, and only 3 really matter, or 4. If I'm not going to repeat the same story 20 times. I'm going to tell the 3 biggest or the 4 biggest or 5, whatever. But they're going to cut it down, and that'll also start weeding out these hanger-oners, because I do believe there's too many hanger-oners, and some of these guys that call themselves journalists. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I can't even listen to them.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you talk to them in person, they sound one way, and then when they get on, it's and you're like, what the fuck is your problem, bro?
I know.
You sound like you've got mental issues.
A little bitch.
Just be
sound
yourself.
Like a little bitch.
Just, it's almost like they put on this, like, radio. Hey, I'm Grant Langston sitting here with David Pingree. Welcome to 102.7. It's like, what are you doing?
Be yourself. Yeah, just be yourself. I know. It's hard. Who do you see coming down the pipe? Like, I was trying to think of, like, look at the guys we have now. Even when Jett first came over here, I wouldn't have thought he or Hunter would be what they are right now. When they were at Geico, they were doing okay. They weren't crushing it.
I thought Jett was somewhat special, but if I'm being honest, I didn't expect him to be this good.
No.
I thought he would be someone that would go to the 450s and at some point be a title contender. I didn't expect it to be like, oh, shoot, he's making it boring.
I truly think, and I saw Cooper Webb post this week somewhere, say it to somebody, that he thinks when his career is said and done, Jett will be the best guy to ever do it. And what I'm watching out of him, it's like, yeah, he is the boat. He's the Jett boat. If Ricky's the GOAT, he's the boat. Best to ever do it.
But it's going to be tough.
Best of all time.
Just think about things. Jeremy's won 7 championships. The closest has been Ricky with 5.
Yeah.
Ricky won 10 straight national championships. And Jett's been hurt, so he's not going to do consecutive, year after year. But if he has the longevity where he can win 10 out of the 15 years he races national championship and 6 or 7 Supercross titles, I think you put him in that category. But he's definitely the immediate, superstar for obvious reasons. But when you start looking at the record books, you're like, it's a long way to go.
Yeah.
And I know he's going to chip away year after year after year, but when you look at some of those numbers like MC, RC, they're mind-blowing. I mean, you and I know how hard we busted our ass to win a race. Those guys were doing it automatic. And Jett's on the right track, but we've seen it in our sport. It just takes one crash. It just takes, I don't know, the mental side to go. Or it takes, I mean, who knows? Let's just say hypothetically, I think Deegan is, when he does move up, I think Jett's going to have maybe a little more raw talent and speed, but maybe Deegan mind fucks him, and gets in his head. And we've seen it with riders. Once someone gets in their head, I've seen guys
come apart.
Look what Jason Lawrence did to Ryan Dungey. I mean, there's other.
Yeah.
That's the first one that came to my mind. But I've seen good guys just crumble because they got mentally fucked.
I would just say I haven't seen that from Jett. Like every time he's been challenged, he rises to that, and it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it pushes him rather than.
But who's gotten in his head? No one. Eli's too nice. Everyone's playing nice, but I feel like saying to those guys, if you genuinely want to beat him, you got to start playing a little dirty. Play like the South African rugby team. When you're down on that scrum, take a little shot at them, hit him in practice. Just have him thinking about you and not what he's doing,
Yeah.
Some people might say that's not a good thing to say, Grant. And you know what I said? Fuck you.
Yeah. I think that's what he'll do. That's his playbook. He's like J-Law plus.
And as a fan, I want to see it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have this weird side of me where I love that kind of drama where I'm like, oh, what's going to happen this weekend? Let's see.
Yeah, you need it, man. Like, even if you look.
You need the good guy. You need the talented guy. You need the asshole. You need the bad boy. You need personalities.
Yeah.
Like, I want people, if they walk through the stands at Supercross, what do you think of this guy? I hate him. And then also the next guy, he's my guy.
Yeah.
That's the kind of.
Oh, dude, we have the cowboy. We have Sexton, who's like clean cut, hardworking, straightforward kid, right? Jett's this, Australian.
South Australian?
South Australian. Australian, like, good-looking kid, foreigner. Yeah, everybody, we have all these. Eli's the mountain man, the rugged, like, whatever.
Tough guy, yeah.
We don't have a bad guy. Maybe Vince Freeze. And I think Vince Freeze should play that. I think he should, like, play up to it more.
He's played it very well.
Well, he is it, right? But play it up. Like, I'd show up with a, I don't know.
Fuck Vince
just
Freeze.
wear all black gear and just like, you know what I mean?
And have a big bullseye on your butt.
Yeah, maybe put a bullseye on your butt.
But the problem is Vince Freeze is not at their level.
Right.
So people just look at him as someone that gets in the way and causes unnecessary issues. But if he was a winning caliber guy, he'd be loved by some and hated by most.
Remember, it must have been early 2000s-ish, Tyler Evans, when he would show up to the race and, like,
rip his shirt off.
Throwing
money in the crowd.
Oh, my God. It was so ridiculous. But, like, people loved it. For the show, it was like they looked forward to it. And they cheered for that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he made himself more money by playing a role of tough guy.
Yeah.
Now, I think actually Hunter Lawrence said it in one of the interviews. He goes, everyone says they miss the 90s and battling this and that. And then when someone bumps someone, they all start whining and complaining. So I think for riders, too, they've got to just go, I don't care if some media outlet says I'm a dirty rider. Like, they got to ignore that. And
it would be hard, though, dude. We didn't have to deal with that in our day. You know what I mean? Anyone can just get on and go, that guy's an idiot. Like, and so you'd blow it off for a while, but eventually it would bum you out. I would have to, like, just delete the apps.
Media,
Stay off it.
That's a good idea.
It is a good idea. We should both do it. What about the GPs? You following anything over there?
Yeah, I mean.
Is Fevre still leading?
Yeah. Well, Geiser was injured. Hurlings is injured again. I'm thinking I wouldn't be shocked if Hurlings announces his retirement this year. His contract is up. I think KTM, after figuring out their financial issues, have said to him, we have the ability to retain you type thing. But I think he's just had one too many injuries now where he's going, I don't know if I can do this again. Because the GPs is a long series. They start at the beginning of the year. At least for us, like, you get injured in Supercross, it's like, all right, we're going to be ready for, what was the first race? Paula.
Yeah.
I got a few months, and I got something to work towards because I could still win this championship. You get injured in the middle of the GP season, it's like, well, there goes another year. And you only have maybe 10 good years on average.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So every time you lose a year, I mean, he's probably lost, 5 or 6 years out of the last 10 or 12?
Yeah, where do you put him, man? Like, when you start looking at the greatest GP racers ever, it's like,
He has
obviously
more wins than everyone.
Yeah, obviously for wins and speed, he's the guy. But if for titles, there's a lot of dudes that have outdone him just because he's been hurt so much. Kind of like Stewart.
Yeah, Hurling's nickname is the Bullet. James was called the fastest guy on the planet, so that similar nicknames. But, again, some people say, well, he won a lot because he was always on the edge, and he didn't get as many titles because he was always on the edge.
Yeah.
I think if you look at people like Jeremy you could watch a lot of races. For how he dominated, he only crossed the finish line a couple seconds ahead of guys on a religious basis.
Yeah.
Like, if you go and watch, it wasn't like he blew the doors off everyone. Same with, like, Eli. There were races, I'm like, the dude's over a minute ahead, and he still looks like he's pushing hard. Like, relaxed.
Yeah, chill, bro.
And, in fact, in Colorado, when he crashed, I thought, oh, shit, I hope no one accuses me of jinxing him. I'm like, the dude's got, like, a minute lead, and he's still pushing really hard. Like, this is risky. And then he cartwheeled down the hill. Because I had people going, dude, you called it. I'm like, I know. I wish I never said that, actually, because I don't want anyone to look at me. But, I think with Hurlings, he's going to be remembered as, like you said, like a James. Just when he was on, no one could beat him. But the problem was he was a switch. He was on, and then it was out. And then he was on, and then he was out. And he was on, and he was out. Cairoli did a really good job of just being Mr. Consistent. 9 world titles. But numbers don't lie. You would have to say Stefan Everts, 10-time world champion, second most overall wins, behind Hurlings now. So, even look at Supercross. You got Jeremy, 7 titles, Eli, 2. Like, there's a big gap in championships. And a lot of the top riders said the same thing. Winning races is great, but everyone wants to be a champion. And that, to me, is what defines the best in the world. So when I look at numbers, I think Everts is the greatest GP rider of all time. I think Cairoli was a close second. I think Hurlings may be the fastest GP rider of all time. Now you come to America, Jeremy was the king of Supercross, Ricky was the GOAT of motocross, and James was arguably the fastest guy at certain times. How do you slot that? To me, the only way I can do it is look at the record books, go to the top. Who has the most championships? That, to me, is...
Yeah, ultimately, that's what you have to go by, right?
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's like if he could have just backed it down a touch, like you said.
But some guys seem like they only have... If they go fast, they don't know. Like, that's where Jett's really good. Like, you'll see him win a race by 5-10 seconds. You're like, oh, he didn't annihilate them. And then he'll go down, and you're like, whoa, he's mid-pack. Is he going to get to the front? And you're like, the dude was toying with him for this moto.
He was to the front in 2
now
laps.
that his back's against the wall, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's scary that he's got more in the tank.
Yeah.
So that's where I do think he might be one of those guys that could start challenging some of these crazy records that we've seen, because I think he rides within himself. And his technique his technique is so good for these modern day 4-strokes that he's less likely to crash. There's some guys I watch him and I'm like, oof, the way you're riding, you're going fast, but you look like you're an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah. He does stuff, dude. It kind of defies physics to me. Like, did you see his pass for the lead in Redbud right before the finish?
Yes. I love that.
He went around the outside. He slammed into the bank of that, which I'm thinking
Bounced
it would have
him off.
rebounced this way. And then he scrubbed the finish line, like, so hard. I'm like...
But he's very good at using his body to absorb that rebound. Like, a lot of guys have been good at absorbing the compression, but he, like you said, he'll do stuff deliberately to hit it, knowing it's going to rebound, but he uses his body in a way that when it rebounds, it just brings him back into the racing line so he can sweep the next turn. Whereas we would have smashed the berm, almost crashed, and just hoped we could have beat the guy to the next turn.
Yeah.
He just does things different. And there's some things that I feel like saying you can be taught, and there's some things that just happen. When the tracks start getting rough, he starts finding a way. Like, if he hits that braking bump and everyone's hitting it, it gets deeper, he finds a way to back it up and go blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it seems so obvious, but I think as racers we get tunnel vision and we just plow the same thing over and over.
He's truly that kid that can just get on a piano and never had a lesson and just start playing music. It's like it just comes to him really easily. And the stuff that, like you said, when I saw him slam off that thing, I'm going, oh, he's gonna like bounce back into. I can't remember who it was he's passing. And it came back quickly, and then he just went right into a scrub that way. I'm like, if anything, you would have scrubbed this way. Like, just the whole thing blew my mind. I'm like, I don't know how he just did that. Like, it does not make sense to me.
There's no denying that he's an exceptional talent. Like, there's always been this debate, how much is talent and how much is determination. When you have that level of natural ability, you just need some determination.
Yeah. Well, I think he and his brother, that's a great example of it.
Because his brother has a good riding technique, but he doesn't ooze that natural ability. Hunter, to me, looks like he works harder than Jett to go at that speed.
Totally. They've admitted that. Like, Hunter has to work at it and build to kind of stack pennies, where Jett just goes, he watches, he goes, oh, I got that. You know what I mean? It's like that asshole kid who just starts playing.
But think about this.
Man, I'm still trying to figure out where my fingers go.
Imagine, just hypothetically, Jett Lawrence was never born. Hunter Lawrence looks like a badass right now, I mean, he's the best of the rest. But I would be so frustrated.
He's already a champion. Yeah. Right? He was second in SMX last year.
Sometimes I feel like, I wonder if he ever lays down and goes, man, why couldn't my mom just had a miscarriage? I'm just kidding, people. But I got to imagine it must be a little tough. I remember even when Lucas Modal was still the agent. And I said to him, we were at a bar the one evening, and we were chatting. And I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to, like, pry into who's getting paid what. I said, but I have to ask you, how does it feel? Or how does it work? You go in, hey, because, they got Red Bull, they got Honda, they're almost all the same.
Yeah.
And I said, you go in, and it's like, all right, I got my boys. There's a package for him. He's looking for $250, and he's looking for $1 million. And he goes, that's pretty much exactly how it was.
Is that what he said?
Like, there you go, Honda. That's for Jett. And that's for Hunter. Hey, Alpine Stars. And I'm like, that's got to be, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like that's got to be so strange when you're almost as good as your brother, but he's earning quadruple of what you're getting.
That's the big difference, though, right? Between the guy who's really, really good and guy who's great, who's winning titles.
Yeah. Interesting, though. Like, I don't know, I'd feel like a bit of an asshole coming in going, he's worth every penny you can afford, and he's just happy to get an offer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're both making good enough money that they're probably fine. But I'm sure Hunter gets frustrated at times. They don't seem like it. You talk to them, they seem like they're a tight family. Like there's... And I didn't have brothers, so I don't know, but it doesn't seem like there's jealousy or animosity,
But again, they've left their home country. They went to Europe. Hunter was the first one to get on the world scene. Jett was younger, so he was coming through the ranks. So I do believe that that'll make you a tight-knit family.
Yeah.
And I like the fact to see that even if it is a bit of an act, which doesn't seem like it, that they're still able to be a tight family. Because you know that old saying, money and politics can ruin almost anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a lot of money and there's also politics involved in the sport. So just from the family aspect, I hope it never gets sideways.
And I think their perspective too, like you said, if they had just grown up racing here and jumped into a factory ride and they're doing that, maybe they would be a little more jealousy. I think the fact that they had to go to Europe, struggle to survive, their Whiskey Throttle show, I don't know if you ever watched it, crazy.
Well,
crazy what they
honestly,
went
through. I related to a lot of it because of it was almost the same path for me.
Yeah, I don't know that people understand what that sacrifice looks like. Like we're selling everything, our whole family, and we're going to do this. Like it's such a dice roll, dude. Like the fact that you guys made
when
it.
I look back, I said to my dad the one day, I said, you were borderline fucking insane for what you did.
Yeah.
And he goes, but you wanted it. I'm like, I was
I was a
15. How could you let a 15-year-old manipulate you like that? Come on, Gerald. I'm like, what was plan B? He goes, I didn't have one. And he goes, we were going to win come hell or high water. And I'm going, yeah, no. I
telling
felt
you,
the
dude.
pressure then, and now I look back and I'm like, whew. And you know what?
Did you feel it when you were over there racing? Like, did you feel that weight?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was, in all honesty, I actually went to my dad one day and said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm miserable. We were broke. We had no friends. Like, it just sucked. And, you know, the weather, we got there in winter and, you know, going to the races, like, it wasn't fun. I was getting my ass kicked. My dad's on my case. I'm homesick. Didn't have money to call home and talk to family and friends. Like, it was really tough. And I'm so thankful that when I said to him, hey, like, I just want to go home. And he looks at me and goes, we don't have a fucking home. I sold it to get your ass here. And we're not giving up. And I remember I was bummed. Like, I just wanted to go home. I cried myself to sleep. And I look back and I go, thank God he just didn't go, okay, that's fine. We tried. Because I would have gone back and we wouldn't be sitting here. So it can get, but it's an old saying, tough times build strong men, right?
Yeah.
You know, so when I have issues in life, I often think it's not that bad.
Well, and I think that's, again, their lens is looking through what really hard times look like. You know, the fact that your brother's making a little bit more than you and beating you on the weekends at a dirt bike race.
But you're still a multi-millionaire. You're
Yeah,
okay.
he's doing fine, right? So I think he's just figured out, one, he's happy for his brother. I think he genuinely loves him, you know. But two, he's look, I've seen hard times. This isn't hard times.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have an opportunity to go out and try to beat him every weekend. And I have him to practice against every day.
And again, like you said, they're making good money. No one's had any major injuries. The family's good. Like, I would think that the whole Lawrence family has to be in a good headspace.
Yeah.
They're living the American dream.
They are. And you know what? This was something I thought was interesting because I think a lot of people hate on them. You look at any comment we post, he's got a lot of haters in there. And I'm like, why are you talking shit to, like, someone who, one, is generally a nice kid, and he's still a kid. He's the best thing we have going in our sport right now, and you're mad at him. Why? What are you pissed about?
I know. It's his purse that he carries with him.
It is.
It pisses me off.
Pisses everybody off. That purse just pisses everyone off.
But I think, you know, but he's like pretty much, if you look, I've seen all the comments, get rid of the purse, and he rocks up with a new purse at the next race. And I'm like, so he's just doesn't care. And I think you talk about the hate. I do believe because he's not American, that has a little factor. And secondly, because he's so dominant, you know, Carmichael said a long time ago, he goes, it's very lonely at the top because everyone wants to see you lose.
I believe that, dude. I saw it happen to Jeremy for a minute. Jeremy was like probably the guy that it happened to the shortest amount of time. But Ricky got hated. Anybody that starts crushing it, people will find a way to hate him. Oh, Dungy, he's boring, you know. Like,
but I feel like they hate him in the beginning, and it's almost like then they get used to it, and then the people that were hating start coming around. And
yeah. Well, Jett, because I spoke to their dad this weekend, and I said, you guys think when you're done racing, you'll stay here, or will you guys go back home to Australia? And he goes, we're home, mate. He's like, since living here and like experiencing it, he goes, there's no way we're leaving. Like, our home, Australia will always be our home, but no, we love it here. And I thought, you know what? Like, you should tell people that.
Yeah.
Because I think people are pissed that this, you know, foreigners winning. Like, we get so angry about that over here as Americans. I don't know what it is.
It's patriotic in some aspect. Truthfully, think about it. You want to see someone from your home state or your home country win. I get it.
But we go to a level where we actually are hating on you and making nasty comments. I guess at the old GPs, you'd have guys swinging sticks and trying to break riders' arms so that their country would win. I guess it's pretty normal.
Oh, it gets intense, and I mean, even you know me, I'm a big MotoGP fan. Marc Marquez, who's Spanish, him and Rossi, they had beef, and Mugello is in Italy, and so here's a Spaniard who won on a Ducati that's made down the street, and when they introduced Marc to the podium, the fans booed him like loud, like it was majority all boos, because even the team manager was like, He's in Ducati colors. Like, cheer for him. And they were like, nope,
Yeah.
not our guy.
Thumbs down.
They wanted
Kill
to
him.
see Bagnaia, an Italian who's Rossi's buddy, on an Italian bike win. So they're mad that, so there's a lot of patriotism in all over the world.
I get it. And even in sport, you go to like a football game, there's people that just cussing the other team. It's like, you really care that much?
There's like huge riots and fist fights, and I'm like, it's a soccer match. These are clubs from the same country.
They kill the refs sometimes in third world countries.
I remember that one.
Was it in there? Maybe it was in Europe.
There was a goalkeeper when the ball was rolling to him, and he was trying to direct things, and he fluffed it, and the ball rolled in the goal. He was assassinated after the game.
Yeah, soccer fans are another level.
Well, we have this saying, rugby is a hooligan sport played by gentlemen. Soccer is a gentleman's sport played by hooligans.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I still want to go see a football match over in Europe. You got to wear the right colors. You will be killed.
Well, yeah. Whatever color you're wearing, just make sure you're in the right seating area.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're going to wear red, make sure you wear all the red shirts off. If you're wearing blue, be well. Because if you go to the wrong spot.
No, whatever the local team is, I'm going to be in full regalia. I'll probably get a tattoo just so I don't
temporary.
Temporary, just so I don't get killed.
Yeah.
What else, man? What else is going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Just trying to navigate. We're getting that time of the year where the 26 gear and boots and helmets and motorcycles and product. And there's just a lot more chatter about what it's going to cost. Does it have tariffs? What are the tariffs? So there's just a lot of chatter, if that makes sense, trying to navigate, figure out what we got coming, when it's coming. Our customers going to see a price increase. It does look like on a lot of things that there are price increases. I think some companies are using it as an excuse to
raise the price,
rape the customers. So I've been very cautious in going, so wait, it's coming out of the same country. They raised it 12%. You're doing 40%. We're clipping you. I'm like, there's a lot of other gear options, or there's a lot of other boot so we're making sure that we bring in the right stuff at the right price.
Yeah.
And with interest rates being high, it's hurting new vehicle sales, whether it's the motorcycle industry, the car industry. I mean, everything's a little soft. So you're always just trying to figure out how, why, who's going to maybe have some rebates, who can do some special financing. So as far as just from the business side of our industry, the water's a little muddied, but it's like anything. I always say it's going to figure itself out. It always does.
Yeah.
And even though, because people hear something on the news and they're like, oh my gosh, we're screwed. And then all of a sudden, there was a deal cut and things aren't that bad.
Well, we just put some deal together with Japan. I was curious how that's going to affect
I had a feeling
sales.
that was going to come just because they're a good trading partner of ours and a good ally. So
I never understood, like, his thing was he wants to get reciprocal tariffs. So if you're charging us a 10% tariff, then we're going to charge you 10%. Why don't we just go, hey, no tariffs, dude? Like, why are we charging each other if it's the same amount? I don't understand any of that at all.
I think it's just economics. If you, I mean, even Trump was talking after the Great Depression, America became wealthy mostly based on tariffs.
Yeah.
Not really income tax or anything like that. So there obviously is some reason. But if you go look, people often think, it's a blanket. And I'm like, no, if we need minerals from China, we try to negotiate that they don't whack us with tariffs. And then it just becomes a tit for tat. People
it's just a negotiation. That's the bottom line.
It's a complex world.
Yeah.
That's what, and I see some comments online, and I feel like saying, you've obviously never been to another country.
Yeah.
Because everything you said just makes you sound stupid.
Yeah.
But
you should hit yourself over the head with a tack hammer. You're retarded.
So, and every country's looking out for their best interest and how to make their country prosperous and wealthy. Yeah. And you've got some bad actors, and you've got some people that play by the rules. You've got some people that don't. You've got some people that hate America, and they want to see us go into turmoil. Same thing. It's lonely at the top, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is America's at the top of the food chain. And so on the flip side, as an American citizen that we are, I go, it's great that we hold the cards.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we can leverage almost anyone.
We can. I mean, we really can. Without our economy, I don't think any country survives. And that's why I was saying, like, I still thought it was weird. I'm like, wait, why are we paying, Micronesia? We pay a 20% tariff, and they only pay 5 or what?
Yeah.
I'm like, but their economy will die. We'll kill these countries if we don't help them a little bit. So like, I got to trust that they have a formula to work that out based on GDP.
And there's some things where America's done a lot of this with trading deals, is like even when it was like South Africa, I didn't realize how much integration the U.S. had with South Africa, but they wanted a lot of the minerals and diamonds and gold and other natural resources. So it was like, we'll give you this, but you got to give us first right, and then whatever's left over, then you can sell to other countries, but not China and not, and it's like a game of Monopoly sometimes.
And then that turns into, all right, you re-sign this for another year, and I'll put your kid through college, and we'll give you this.
Yeah, then that's where the bribery and corruption comes in.
And it comes in. It's in it's crazy how crooked everything is.
Well, that's why that whole BRICS thing came about, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Because I was really disappointed to see South Africa, in my opinion, joining the opposition, because it's been part of the Commonwealth, which I always tell people, almost any country that speaks English is part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And we've always had each other's backs with trade. And now you're going to go join that team that's pretty much a bunch of hooligans and outcasts. And, in South Africa, basically they're being punished by the U.S. And it just started. It's already causing issues. So, there's going to be a lot of things moving and shaking. But, I do believe at the end of the day, whether it's Trump or, Biden just has an order pen so they can sign it for him. But whoever's in charge, there's a team of people around it. The U.S. has an ambassador for like every country, and all they do is talk about how they can work together.
Yeah.
Every country, so there's a team of people, but they're also smart enough to know who they can give the middle finger to and who we need to work a deal out with and be reciprocal. And that's coming back to my point. I just knew the Japanese deal was going to happen. I was just blown away at how much money they're investing in the U.S.
Was it $500 billion or something?
$550 billion in infrastructure, and 90% of the profit stays in the U.S. I'm like, these guys just got like a low interest loan kind of rating, and I'm going, hey, whatever works, right? We definitely scored on that one.
Yeah.
But I do believe that there's some loyalty. So Japan will benefit from this deal for sure, but we're going to benefit more.
Yeah.
So as an American, I see the future as being pretty bright. I think we're in a bit of a tough spot. I personally believe they really, really, really need to lower the interest rates.
Yeah, the Fed is fucking us.
Yes. Our own
intentionally
government branch
is
holding America.
It isn't a government branch. It's a private entity. That's why it's fucking us.
True. I meant like it falls in the whole everyone, but I know what you're saying. It's its own.
It's privately owned.
But the thing to me is, it stopped money from changing hands, and that is when the economy will struggle. If they lower their interest rates, you're going to see
it would boom.
People are going to sell homes, buy new homes, cash out. Think about how much equity people have in their homes since COVID. There's a lot of dead money right now that you lower those interest rates. And maybe I'm a little bit biased too, but I know like my dealership will take off again. The car industry will be booming. The boat industry, the RV, everything that we like and enjoy in America is going to go gangbusters.
Yeah.
And I understand they're saying they're worried about inflation. But to me, even though people consider tariffs as inflation because the price goes up, inflation technically is more along the lines of too many people wanting not enough goods, and that drives the price up. When it's just expensive, there's fewer people that can buy it. It's almost going to be counteractive. So I don't believe that we need to hold rates up because we got to see what happens with tariffs and inflation. I personally, I'm not a genius or an economist. I'm just a realist. I think that's a load of hogwash.
I do too. Them printing money is what causes inflation.
Oh, duh.
So just cut
Well,
the spending back, which we have.
Imagine if America just said, hey, you know what? We're going to buy every piece of gold, every diamond, every piece of platinum, silver, and bring it to the U.S. so no one else has it. The price of gold in this country will just plummet, and everything else. So it's a balance, and I think right now it's not balancing. It's lopsided. It's a weird economy where some areas are doing well and some areas are doing bad.
But that's to be expected, I think. And I think you give it 12 months from now, we're going to be sailing. My opinion.
I agree. If they start lowering interest rates now, I think it'll be 6 months.
Well, they're talking about trying to get him fired. Jerome Powell is a moron.
Well, the one thing about Trump, he doesn't fucking hold back, does he? There's times I said I want characters in motocross for the drama. I love watching politics because of him.
Well, I just love it because he,
DGAF.
He doesn't. He really doesn't. And, run it like a business. It is a business, so you got to run it that way.
It has to, yeah. Take your emotions and feelings out of it and do what's right.
When you don't, you get the last 4 years. It runs right into the toilet. Yeah. So.
I'm gonna exit stage
Oh,
left.
Steady. You're going to fall.
Oh,
steady.
wait, wrong way.
No, listen, for real.
Yeah, come on, man.
Why do we always wander back to politics?
Because it's so easy.
So easy.
But again, it affects our sport.
It does. People don't want to talk about it.
Don't tell me that Supercross and Motocross are having record crowds, because I've seen the cameras when they pan, and I've never seen that many open seats for a long time.
Well, yeah, and Supercross got expensive.
Okay. But they're going to blame inflation, which I see there's probably some truth to that. But if people don't have disposable income, again, you might be sitting on a few $100,000 in equity on your home, but it's not in your hands.
Yeah.
So now hey, guys, let's go to Anaheim. Okay, 4 tickets, ridiculous parking fee, ridiculous food fee. Hey, Dad, can I have a T-shirt? Oh, bro, son, I'm broke. So what's the easiest thing to do? Just watch it on TV and you don't go.
Yeah.
But people do want experiences. They like concerts. They like racing. They like getting outdoors. They like, everyone's got their thing, right? I always say something makes everyone tick.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. And, I'm seeing people, I know a few people personally that have come in. I'm like, oh, you trading in your bike, getting a new one? No. Will you just buy it from me? I'm calling
they're
it quits.
trying to sell it?
Yeah. Just saying, I'm going to take a little hiatus. Maybe if I get the itch in a few years, I'll get back, but not I don't like motocross, or I don't like riding. It's a lot of people just I don't use it enough. Almost like I can't justify the payment and insurance, and I'm just going to let that go for now and sit back.
You're seeing a lot of that?
More than I'd like, because every time I see it, it's like, damn it. And there's something to be said that every time we see something tragic happen, like a death in our sport, it starts making people rethink, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
If I'm not gonna be like Jett Lawrence, what am I doing? So we're seeing guys pulling out of racing. We're seeing guys that were recreational pulling out. But and again, it's not at alarming rates, but we're seeing it. Where if I rewind a few years ago, it just felt like everyone was like, I need a bike, I need a razor, I want a toy. Everyone was just amped to get out and do stuff, and you don't feel the same way. That it's not the same vibe and emotion now.
I get it. COVID was a weird time because you couldn't find a mountain bike.
And now those companies are going out of business.
Yeah.
I know YT.
Are they going out of business?
They're doing what KTM did, self-administration. I think they're German, I'm pretty sure. I just saw today that Intense are halting production.
Is that right? Dang.
So, and again, they were selling those things for way over sticker at one point, and now you literally can't give. We did the Intense Taser because it was done through Parts Unlimited, and the first few just sold for all the, MSRP, no discount, there you go. We have like a couple bikes left. We've had them for, they're 2023 models.
Oh,
Selling them for less than we paid for them and still can't get rid of them.
dang.
I'm like, wow. That
Yeah, that
changed.
market died.
It got ugly quick.
Well, because when you buy a new mountain bike, especially because they're so expensive, you know, a really good e-bike is like 12 grand. It's more than a 450, which blows my mind.
Which
But
I
you-
think, I don't get it. To me, I'm like, maybe because they're not mass-produced like dirt bikes are, but I still go, how do you justify?
No, there's no way. The markup's got to be insane.
Well, then when they can just throw thousands of dollar rebate, I'm like, you got some room to play with,
Oh,
don't you?
wiggle room, huh?
Yeah, that's to know.
Well, but the thing is with a mountain bike, you buy a new one, it'll last you a decade. You know what I mean? If you take care of it. So you don't need like a dirt bike every year or two. You're kind of going, this thing's hammered. You know, I need to trade it in.
Yeah.
So they sold everybody a bicycle during COVID, and then the spigot shut off.
And everyone did hey, we're out of inventory. We're crushing it. Ramp up production.
Yeah.
And right when all that production ramped up, the demand did the exact opposite, and there was this big crossover.
Yeah. As all of that merch was coming in, the money for COVID was going out, and they're going, oh, wait.
Yeah. I need me some of that.
Yeah, that bit a few companies.
It bit a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, go look at how many companies were bought and sold around the COVID time.
Yeah.
WPS, TLD, Fox, Bell, KTM in financial trouble. I mean, there's a lot more than that. I'm just talking about some of the bigger players at the top of my mind. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of moving and shaking. And now that the dust settles, someone's left without a chair.
I
So
know
the musical chairs did not go to in some people's favor, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think we're going to see probably in the next year some of these, like you said, bike companies, gear companies just fall off. It's just too hard.
Well, you know, being in the dealership world, I was like the other day, I'm going, how many, like, I've been probably hit up by 30 different gear companies. I'm like, I can't stock 30 brands. You know, 5 is about a sweet spot. You know, you have your value for money, your cool shit, your edgy stuff, something in the middle. You can't do them all. I'm like, how are they going to survive? And then like lately I'm going, every time I turn around, there's someone like, hey, I'm from this goggle company. You must have heard of us. I'm like, no, actually I haven't. And I'm like, there's these waves, and I'm going, every one of their brothers got a gear company coming up, a goggle company. You know, I've never seen so many different brands of helmets in the U.S., like motorcycles. We got 10 brands basically going to be on the line. Think about it. We grew up, it was the Japanese Big Four. Then it became KTM made 5. And then you got Gas, Husky, Triumph, Ducati, Beta. That's more than double than what we were used to. And you're going, is there room for all these guys?
That's the question I keep asking. I don't want to complain because I'm glad to see.
Competition's great.
Yeah.
Because it's going to keep prices down because everyone's going to have to be competitive. But they're not all going to make it.
I know. I'm wondering who will get bashed with a shovel and thrown in a shallow hole. I don't see KTM running with 3 brands anymore. I just can't see it.
The best thing they could do is try sell it off and recoup some of their money. That's what I think. Let someone else, let a Chinese or a Indian or whatever country that thinks, oh, this is a good starting point, and run down a rabbit hole with it. Maybe they come and dumb the bikes down and do more cost effective, because, you know, all these bikes, they're like, they got a lot of technology in them now. You know, I mean, it's all about the electronics and the Wi-Fi connection and push to start and all that. You know, it's not like the old days. So you can't make them much better with the tech, you know, what's out there now. Maybe it's time someone just goes, hey, let's try to get back to a $5,000 motorcycle at retail. That's low maintenance. That a guy that goes, you know what, at that price, even if I do ride once a month, or I'm not stressing about a payment, I can pay cash for it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's an option. But, you know, even like a company like Triumph, you know, I look at them and I go, okay, they're struggling on the street side in general. Like, they're not crushing it. And that's been their bread and butter.
Are they? They're not doing well there?
Not really. There's actually a lot of companies that are, if they didn't have a big, because you look at a lot of companies and you realize they're just a little piece of a bigger conglomerate.
Yeah.
But so I think the Japanese are pretty safe. Suzuki's not going to go bankrupt, but if they keep losing market share, they might just say, you know what? We sell enough cars in the Asian market. We're just going to get out of motorcycles.
I think they're the second biggest Japanese manufacturer. They're bigger than Yamaha.
In
total sales.
Not in motorcycles, but
No,
yes,
no,
total sales.
Total sales as a company.
Yes.
I think people don't realize that. The cars and the marine side and
what
Suzuki
people
does
also,
really well.
Honda, their power sports side is almost like a hobby.
Yeah.
Because they crush it in the car market.
Yeah.
And what people forget is in Taiwan and China and countries you've never heard of, Mongolia and Indonesia and the Philippines, Honda and those companies sell like a couple million of those just little commuter bikes.
Yeah.
75cc or 175, stuff we don't get here.
Yeah.
Because in America, it's like we need our V8s and our big motors,
If I can't do 300 down the freeway, don't even bring it over here.
Hey, I sound like I'm talking shit, but I'm that guy. I'm like, what do you mean it's a twin-turbo 4-cylinder? Go shove it up your ass. I want a fucking V8.
Yeah.
It doesn't get great gas mileage. I don't fucking care. It's cool, But in these other countries, it's like, what's cheap, reliable, and affordable? Well, that goes with
Gets
cheap.
you to your job where you can work for 14 hours and make 16 cents.
But they use it for different reasons. So like you said, so I think Suzuki's okay. Triumph is one that I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years we see them exit at least the off-road side. I hope not. Again, when I say things, I'm not wishing anything bad upon anyone. I'm just trying to be a realist and go, there's not enough room. Beta, they at least have a little bit slightly bigger footprint in Europe, but they're trying over here. I don't know people. They're not selling very many bikes. I'll leave it at that. It's pretty simple. We get some of the national rankings of what brands market share they have. Beta doesn't even register on the market share thing. I think it's less than 0.1%. Harley, even though they're not in our sport, Harley's struggling. Polaris Sport Indian struggling. Triumph is not crushing it. Ducati is a little bit like Ferrari. They're not a huge volume, but they just have such a cult following that I think they'll be okay. But I don't know if that same cult following that they have in the street, it's kind of like KTM went, all right, we're dominating off-road and we're strong in moto. We're going to go to road. We're going to go, on road bikes. Well, now you're not dealing with the 4 Japanese that were kind of similar. Now you're dealing with all these companies I mentioned, Triumph and Ducati and Harley and, BMW and the Japanese and Benelli and Moto and Moto Guzzi and Norton and, so they've had a really tough time. Like KTM Street, they struggle, especially in America. They've done well there. Now Ducati's doing the opposite. They have their cult following on the street, whether it's MotoGP, World Superbike, even AMA Superbike. Like guys, when they buy Ducatis, they're so proud. Like they feel like
they wear the
club.
shirt and the whole deal. Yeah.
Now you go to motocross. There's people going, yeah, bike's sick, but what's the MSRP? Like, what's your track record? How much does it cost to maintain? You're dealing with a different there
crowd.
Isn't that cult. I'm a Ducati fan. I think it's an amazing brand, and I'm rooting for them in the sense of I want to see another manufacturer just get in the mix, and so now we've got Japanese and Austrian and Italian, and I'd like to see Triumph succeed, but my gut says there's not enough room for 10 big brands.
I know, man. It's hard to imagine that many teams and these people selling enough bikes.
And we're not even talking about Stark and there was, Cake and Candles and I don't know.
Well, there's
all
also
these brands.
Dust makes an electric bike. There's even the Chinese stuff, CF Moto. Like some people, I just had some people at a class.
They're doing some pretty good stuff, and their pricing is good. Basically, what they're doing is they're saying, here's a very competitive or comparable, but at a price down here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go, I don't know how they do it, but.
Well, I don't either. They must have bought
be
old technology.
It's
like
child slavery, I guess.
it wouldn't surprise me if KTM did sell, and if you had a KTM would have brown plastics and it was called like the Ching Ching Pow, I'd buy it if it was $3,000 less. Who cares? $4,000 less? Sign me up.
Well, I don't think they're out of the woods either.
No. Yeah.
They've gotten a bailout, and from my understanding, they've spent a lot of that just to get back on track, and their sales are not what they were. They're down pretty much 50% if you just did a blanket. That's a big drop for a company that size. Half of what you did before. And then that's not even just the motorcycles. Their apparel is down even more. And so if people aren't buying the bikes, they're not buying the parts, they're not buying the KTM hard parts and or the cool orange anodized shit. So like all that stuff.
People don't know if they're going to go bankrupt, so they're not buying a KTM shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I think that the first thing that could help all of these guys is just the tariff chatter settles and interest rates drop. Because sometimes it's not just about the price. Like, especially in America, Americans are payment driven. Mm-hmm. What's my payment? Can you get me a bike for $200 or less a month?
Yeah, we want to spend it. We just got to be able to get us, check to check.
But now, and then there's some people, it's like, oh, yeah, there's this bank that can do it. There's some banks doing 8 years now on even motorcycles and things like that. So we're like, yeah, you could do it for $200. I'll take it. I'm like, you're going to be paying $25,000 for a $10,000 motorcycle, and then by the time you pay it off, it's scrap metal. Like, okay, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money or how to watch your finances, but it's like I can afford $200 a month.
Yeah.
So whether it's $10,000, $12,000, $8,000, it's payment driven. There are people that come in with cash and they want the best price out the door, but a lot of them, it's just, can you get me in the window that I'm comfortable with?
Regardless of the interest rate.
Dude, we've seen some lately. I'm just like, I cringe. I have to walk out of the building. I'm like, this is financial suicide.
Yeah. Well, if they want to be stupid, what are you going to do?
Join them. Encourage them.
You got anything to say to Steph before we wrap it up?
I just think she's just how God intended her.
What huge cheeks. Look at the dumper on this thing.
Boom. She's definitely cheeky.
Well, she's a sweet gal. Let you get all the way to second base.
Yeah.
Right
never
there.
complains.
Never complains. She's great.
But also doesn't do anything.
Well, thanks for coming, bud. I always appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
Just catching up. Cheers.
Cheers to empty glass.
Yep, it's time to fill her up.
That's right.
Phew. See you guys. Oh, you know what? Before we go, I should say thank you to our sponsors. Probably be a good idea. Langston Motorsports.
Yay!
Big enough to stock it.
Small enough to care.
Ethica. If you guys need some swag, go get it over there. Use Whiskey20 for 20% off. And Rockwell, listen, new sunglasses, some badass sunglasses.
I love these Ethicas.
Oh, yeah, Ethica undies right here.
I love the designs.
So support our – oh, look, that one had a wiener on it. Oh, no, it's your
small
wiener.
one.
Support these guys. They bring this to you. Rockwell Sunglasses, Ethica, and Langston Motorsports. See you guys next time.